This is BBI 243 Academic Interaction and Presentation, Academic Presentation Portfolio. Next slide. So the group members are me, Imran Hanif bin Abdul Rahim, metric number 198865. The second one is Muhammad Farhan bin Nur Azmi, metric number 198698, and followed by Iyad bin Muhammad, metric number 196700. Alright, so today we are going to discuss about renting a house or buying it. Next. So before going any further, let's have an overview of our presentation here. So I will start with a slight introduction about the topic, and then we'll go on to show you the four main advantages of renting a house over buying. And finally, we'll go straight into the conclusion. Okay, introduction. Let's say you are one of those typical university students that are planning to buy a house soon after you graduate. And maybe you said it to yourself like, after I graduate, I'll get a job, get a bank loan, and buy a house. Because to you, having your own property at such a young age is the ultimate goal. But what if I tell you that it is not the wisest decision to be made at that moment? With that being said, let's start with our advantages of renting a house. Next slide. So the first advantage of renting a house rather than buying it is lower accommodation cost. When we rent a house, we don't need to settle up for the closing costs. Okay, alright, closing costs. The fees associated with the house purchase that are paid during closing a real estate deal. Closing costs actually are covered by the landlord when they first buy the house. These closing costs include bank loan deposit, legal fees, and also stamp duty that totals up to around 13% of the house value. So, alright, similarly, the maintenance costs are reduced. This is because the repair bills, the utility costs, and the regular maintenance costs of the house might be covered by the landlord. For instance, if your roof starts to leak, then you do not have the responsibility, the financial responsibility to have those things fixed. Instead, the landlord will settle it for you. So renting a house can really save you a lot of money. For the next point of advantage, I would like to pass the presentation to Mr. Farhan to continue, please.
Thank you, Imran, for greeting me. So the next reason why renting is so much better than buying is because we can use the money for invest in a better option. So imagine that you have 500,000 ringgit Malaysian. So you can choose either you want to buy a house or use the money to rent, and the rest of the money from the renting we can use it to invest in a better option. Many people nowadays think that buying a house is much better than renting it, because they think buying a house at a young age can save them from thinking about the price of the house that will be expected to be increased in the future. But this kind of thinking can be said as invalid, because in the future anything can happen. So renting a house is much better because we can make an investment to increase our financial resources by engaging in the investment, as well as get salaries from work. So why I said that we can use investment while we are renting a house, because we take an example. When we renting a house, there are a lot of opportunity that we can take, such as investment in the stock investing on Bursa Malaysia. we can earn a lot of profit if we get the correct knowledge on investing. So one of the best investment is mutual fund monthly income plan. This plan make you ready to take risks, to take moderate amount of risk, and make sure that you get a better return. So many of the investors take this plan so that they can have high stability and also a greater return. So on average, renting a house also can outperform owning and building home equity. This is because by the investment that we make in a better in a many option that we make can build wealth creation. So this makes sure that we have the extra financial resource, such as we can use the money that we get from investment to save for our marriage, to buy the furniture for the house, to pay car monthly payment properly, and many more. So the third advantage of choosing renting over buying is because the increasing of property value. So as I said before, the reason why buying a house at a young age is invalid because the property price fluctuates. The price of the home price is not always will increase from time to time. So the property value is influenced by the economy. When the economy decreases, the buying power from the people will be also affected. So this will make the people more consider to choose renting over buying. So, and other than that, mother nature also one of the causes that the property value become more decreasing. So we take an example in 2008, the landslide that hit in Bukit Antarabangsa, Selangor, causes the property value decrease significantly. So this kind of disaster, the unpredictable disaster, also one of the effect that the property value will decrease and make people more consider to rent over buying it. So the nature disasters such as flood, tsunamis, earthquake, and many more can make the property value decreasing. So now I would like to invite Mr. Ian to present the final reason.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farhan. So the point that I want to discuss, the last point, is having a less responsibility towards the property. When you rent a house, the tenant, the one who rent the house, is not responsible for maintenance and the repair work. The one that will be managing this maintenance is the owner, or we call it as the landlord. They are the one that will manage the maintenance and all the repairs work. So when the tenant first move into the house, the landlord will make sure and required to make the repairs and make sure all the rental property is in a good and habitable condition. So what if the landlord doesn't make the required repairs or maintenance? There are several consequences. It is depend on the state law. The tenant can choose whether to withhold all the rent, or they can simply pay less rent until the problem is fixed. So
the tenant also has an option to hire a outside party to repair and managing the maintenance, to repair the property, and then it still not cost anything, because the cost will be cut in the next rent check, so it still not cost anything to the tenant. And next point is when you rent a house, there's a huge psychological freedom, which means that you can freely move out from the house if you, for any reason, if you want. For example, you you doesn't satisfied with the maintenance that landlord give, so you can just move out, and it doesn't require, and it require less paperwork and legal duties, and you just have to undergo some simple procedures, and then you can move out from the house. In conclusion, we can conclude that if you have an option between rent and buying a house at the early stage or after you graduate, we say that rent is the best option because it has a low accommodation cost. You can have a better investment option. The property value is also decreasing and has less responsibility towards the property. We didn't say that you shouldn't buy a house, but you can buy a house if you stable enough in terms of your income and you are prepared to giving a full commitment. So I think that's all from us.